Have you ever been on a conference call or maybe a cruise ship and heard a strange announcement asking if there are any friends of Bill W. on board? It sounds like a coded message from a movie, right? But it's not. It's a quiet question, a signal sent out by someone looking for a very specific kind of community. That phrase, friend of Bill W., is a key that unlocks a world with its own unique language. This isn't just slang, it's a dialect of hope and survival spoken in recovery groups all over the world. So today, let's decode that language. Now, this recovery dialect isn't meant to keep people out. It actually serves a few really important functions: creating a sense of belonging, protecting anonymity, and building a world of shared meaning. First up, belonging. When you feel totally isolated by your struggles, finding people who speak your language feels like a homecoming. It creates an instant, we're in this together vibe. Phrases like, keep coming back, it works if you work it, become these little mantras of encouragement, reminding you that you're on a shared path. This common vocabulary helps people connect and feel understood, sometimes for the very first time. Then there's anonymity. For a group like Alcoholics Anonymous, there is a core principle, and it's not just about general privacy. It's specifically about protecting a member's identity from being exposed publicly. The phrase friend of Bill W. is the perfect example of this in action. Bill W. is short for Bill Wilson, the co founder of AA. So, asking if someone is a friend of Bill is a discreet way to find a fellow member, especially while traveling, without breaking that foundational tradition. It's a way to find a safe space without waving a giant flag. And finally, it creates shared meaning. Recovery is a complicated, lifelong process. This language is a kind of shorthand. Instead of a long, painful explanation of what's going on in your head, a single phrase can communicate the entire experience to someone who just gets it. So, let's define some of the key terms you might hear. First, you have words for people and their progress. A newcomer is just what it sounds like, someone new to the group. An old timer, on the other hand, isn't a formal title, but more like informal slang for a respected member with long term sobriety. A lot of newcomers are encouraged to find a sponsor, a more experienced member who can guide them through the whole process. Then there are the tools of recovery. The Big Book is the main text for Alcoholics Anonymous. You'll also hear about chips or medallions. These are small tokens given out to mark milestones of sobriety: 24 hours, 1 month, 1 year. Each one is a solid, tangible symbol of progress. The language also has words for the wild psychological ride of recovery. The pink cloud is a period of pure bliss and optimism many feel in early sobriety. It feels amazing, but the old timers know it's often temporary. On the flip side, you have the concept of dry drunk. This term, which some consider a bit harsh, describes a person who has quit drinking but still has a lot of the negative emotional patterns from their days of active addiction. And finally, there's some meeting lingo. You might hear about open or closed meetings. Open meetings are for absolutely anyone who's interested. Closed meetings, however, can have different rules depending on the fellowship. In AA, for instance, there are specifically for people who have a desire to stop drinking. This is where the language gets really interesting. Inside a meeting, you may hear someone get up and say, my name is Carlo and I'm an alcoholic. In that room, owning that label is powerful. For many in 12-step programs, it's a crucial act of acceptance. But outside of that room, the language often shifts. Many health professionals and advocates now encourage using person first language. So instead of calling someone an addict, they say a person with a substance use disorder. Research trends suggest that labels like addict can unfortunately increase stigma, making it harder for people to seek help by framing the issue as a moral failing instead of a medical condition. This creates a fascinating dynamic where people in recovery often code switch. They'll use the insider terms with the peers who get the context, but then switch to person first language in public or professional settings. It shows a real awareness that words carry different weight in different rooms. So, the secret language of recovery isn't about building walls, it's about creating safe harbors. It's a vocabulary built from shared experience that efficiently communicates the highs and lows of very difficult, very human journey. What are some other coded languages you've run into? Maybe in your own hobbies or profession. Let me know in the comments below.